Alrighty, hombres. So we're over here at the Arena Kawamatsu. This is the team, these are the supports, let's hop on in. So this particular team is very intricate with the supports. I wouldn't really recommend using this to farm it, but if you do want to try it, it actually was a lot of fun. So on stage 3, we come up against OTQ, and this is where the support of Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week kick in. So Buggy's going to get a bunch of cooldown, which isn't really needed. I just wanted to chuck it on there just to show it off. And we now get half damage for 3 turns. Against Okiku, she's on a 2-turn cooldown, and with Barrier Pen and Ace, you can easily take her out in that 2 turns. It's not that big of a deal. So the support is not really essential, but you will see where it actually is really, really handy when we do the Akainu run for this exact same arena, not Colosseums. Once we take out Okiku, we can move on to the next stage, and on the next stage, we come up against Ryoiin and 2 of his clones. Now, against Ryoiin, he gives us 8 turns of blind on the right-hand side, which go down to 5 respective to your sockets, and he puts up 5 turns of damage reduction. So this is where our supports are going to start kicking in. We have Corazon on Law. We're going to use the versatility of Ace to get a conditional boost, as well as his special to give us a chain lock if we get lucky with the orb on our Captain Ace. But mainly we're just going to get the orb boost. Law's going to remove the damage reduction, and then with the Buggy special, we can remove the last 3 turns of bind. So it all works really, really well on this particular stage. With that, we just want to aim at taking out the middle Raizo, the main Raizo, as the burn is actually just going to kill the other units in the back, which just helps out massively. Like, you could probably kill them with Ace, though, to be honest, but it is what it is. On the final stage against Kawamatsu, he does a whole bunch of stuff. He gives us 6 turns of blind despair, respected to your sockets on your friend captain, full board of block goals, 4 turns of attack down, 7 turns of chain coefficient reduction, and he rolls your specials back by 2 turns. But with Ace, we don't have to worry about that. So this is where we're going to see the support of Wipe It or Marco come in to remove 3 turns of despair. We have the versatility of Ace to give us a full board of orbs, namely a strength orb on our Ace. We can remove the attack down and give a chain buff mechanic with the Marco special. Marco's actually boosted in this event too, which is great. And then we can use Verse Ace. Ace is going to give us an orb buff as well as a chain lock. And with that Mr. 5 support, we can actually get an attack boost, lock our orbs, and remove 2 turns of despair. Finally, with Sanji and Pudding, the limited rare recruit, we can remove the rest of the despair with Valentine's Nami and give ourselves a color affinity boost. Now, on the first turn, you want to get Kawamatsu quite low, but you don't want to get him below 30%. If he takes a knee, he will kill you, but if you get him below 50% HP, he gives you hunger for 3 meat orbs. Now, the beautiful thing about getting hunger when it comes to this particular event is that we have locked our orbs, and we actually have 3 meat orbs with our Sanji Pudding special. That way we can remove the hunger on the second turn, and then we can take out Kawamatsu because we have the 2 turns of chain lock, we have the 2 turns of orb boost, and the 2 turns of color affinity. So it worked out really, really well and managed to take it down, not fairly easily, but a lot of fun. Moving on to the Garbs challenge against Navy now, we're using a Verse Ace team that is fully strength. So this is the team, these are the supports, let's dive in. We're going to sort of blitz our way through this first couple of stages. As you guys know, we just want to take out the Marines, get your cooldowns, and then move. The real fight starts at stage 3. Now, if you really want to, you can actually use that Mr. 3 support. I didn't include it here because like it's really not essential at all. Like, you don't need to stall here whatsoever. But actually, I lied. I did include it. The beautiful thing about using it is, I guess you can get a matching orb on whatever character you choose to use. For this particular team, I used Odin. I think I just literally slapped it on, literally just because. But we can remove the threshold with the Zoro special, and then we can just sort of take this stage out with normal attacks. This stage is not that tricky for this team, as this team just has so much damage output that it's like not even funny. The beautiful thing about that stage 3 special, support, sorry, is you do get damage reduction. So if you do want to like stall a little bit for some specials, also to get some more orbs for verse abilities or whatnot, this particular support is actually going to be really, really good, as it's just going to help out both Akainu and Ace. More Akainu, I feel, than Ace, but it's just going to be such a usable special as it goes on any driven or free spirit character. And there's a lot of free spirit characters in the game, and there's a lot of driven characters upcoming in the game. So once we hit the next stage against Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina, we're going to remove the bind and despair that gets inflicted on us with the support of Rayleigh and the switch ability of Luffy Sanji. And then we can pop one of our verse abilities. The verse ability on this stage is actually really good. Because we get unfavorable slots, we get a full board of orbs with Ace's verse ability. We get a conditional boost, which is great. And even without Zoro being boosted, we can actually just like destroy this stage. Fortunately, we can't take it out in one turn. Unless the burn does some crazy damage to Smoker. As I mentioned, I recorded this a couple days ago, so can't exactly remember how I did the run. But I guess we'll watch it together. Okay, so we don't manage to take out Smoker, but that's fine. We'll take him out on the second turn. If you actually take out Kobe Helmeppo, in one turn, you can actually get the carryover of that 3-turn damage reduction that Mr. 3 provides. That's another beautiful thing about that support. The 3 turns means that you can actually carry it into the next stage. So, like, for stage 3 and 4, you guys can have damage reduction. If there's going to be, like, content coming up that has some sort of, like, incoming damage on stage 4, it's actually going to be a nice support to remove 50% of that. So, like, it's going to see a lot of play, I feel. As you can see, we can just destroy Kizaru on that particular stage and move on to the next stage against Fuji. Now, against Fuji, this is where things stereotypically get a little bit tricky for most teams. But for this particular team, it's actually a cakewalk. We can use the special of Ace to give ourselves an orb buff as well as a chain lock. And then we can actually use the verse ability to give ourselves a conditional boost too, which is really, really nice. Get him, Ace. Get him, boy. With Ace giving us a full border orbs as well as an orb boost, I actually really like that mechanic. And then with the support of Mr. 5, we actually get an attack boost for this entire team as well. So literally just with like our single Ace, with his support and his verse ability, we can actually just take this stage out, which is really, really funny to me, to be honest. It just works really, really well. And makes a stage that is stereotypically very annoying to deal with a lot easier to manage. So with that, we got a chain lock, we got an orb boost, full border orbs, we have an attack boost, we have locked out orbs too, which is really, really handy. And that way we can just destroy Fuji, and we can actually even take out 2 of the Chicky Babes in the back. We're going to fast forward now until we get to the, actually, I think we just sort of take her out on the next turn. Yeah, we do. We've got all our specials ready to go. That's the thing about this team. It's actually just so busted. You don't even need to stall on that particular stage. Once we hit Akainu, he turns into a Dex unit, which is great because now we have color affinity. And then we are basically just going to pop the rest of our specials and say goodbye to our good old friend Akainu here. He does have full immunity, however, so we can't use the verse ability Ace. That's why we've used it like throughout the run. But we're going to use our Odin special. That'll give us an orb buff. We have limited rare recruit Lucy as well to remove the burn and give us an attack buff as well. And then we can just say sayonara to good old Akainu. The downside to this particular stage is you can only use 2 specials. That's what makes it a little bit tricky. But with Odin giving an orb buff as well as Wano orbs and then getting attack buff and removing the burn, we don't have to worry about like hitting perfects as well, which is really nice. But like as you can see, like Akainu just melts, like actually melts. Once we hit the revive, we can remove the threshold with Zoro, and then we can get an attack buff with our Luffy Sanji. And Bob's your uncle. That's going to say goodbye to the Garbs Challenge Navy. So, with that said, let's move on to some Akainu footage now. Alright, so on to versus Akainu now. Unfortunately, I was doing this on stream, and we kind of missed the start of the fight there. If you need to see the supports and go back, like you can take a look at it there. Again, the main supports that we have on this particular team are the new ones and stuff like that, but we are just sort of going to stall our way through until we get to stage 3 against Hawkins. So we are versing X-Drake, Arena X-Drake here, and I really wanted to use Akainu against this particular arena, because that way we can use his verse ability to not only get around the all orbs unfavorable, but we can actually use all of the supports. So as you can see, we hit stage 3. We have all 3 supports on this particular team actually. On stage 3, we have the support of Mr. 3. That's gonna Mr. 2. Yeah, Mr. 2 and Mr. They have such weird names. Mr. 2 and was it Mr. 2 or Mr. 3? No, it's Mr. 3. Yeah, it was. Mr. 3 and I cannot remember the little puppet girl's name. I want to say Miss Merry Christmas, but I know it's not Miss Merry Christmas. They're going to give us the damage reduction for 3 turns, which actually helps out a lot on this particular stage, as Akainu struggles to stall. And because he struggles to stall, that 2 turns of cooldown can actually help if you have it on Akainu, but it can also help you guys actually tank damage on stage 3 if you need to just stall a couple more turns to actually get your specials cooldown. Once we've sort of just done as much damage as we want to on the Hawkins stage, we want to make sure that we use the verse Akainu special before we move on to the next stage against Page 1. Now, the reason we want to do that is so that way we can actually avoid the negative orb enable, and with Barrier Pen, we should be able to just take out Hawkins with our Akainus, which works really, really well. Now that we hit the page 1 stage, he normally gives us 15 turns of all colors unfavorable, and he puts up 4 turns of defense up and damage reduction. He also gives us a full board of block orbs as well. But because we have the versatility of Akainu live, it's like, in my opinion, it's the best thing about Akainu's versatility. Getting that 4 turns of quick orbs matching, actually the utility of that is so damn strong. With the Akainu special though, we can give ourselves a full board of orbs, and then we can actually remove the defensive effects with the treble special. The beautiful thing about doing that is we can actually just take out this stage in 1 turn, as Akainu just has so much damage output. That way we can move on to the final stage against X-Drake. And against X-Drake, he turns into a Dex unit, which is actually not that great for Akainu. But the fact is, we're running a full strength team here. He wipes away all of our positive buffs, gives us 4 turns of paralysis, special blind, despair, and attack down. So this is where we got the support of our Legend Lucci to give us a color affinity boost to our shooters. And then we have the Mr. 5 support on our Buggy. That's going to give us an attack boost because he rotates orbs, as well as lock them. And he can remove 2 turns of despair, which is really, really nice. That way we can use the Akainu special. Akainu is going to have the support of Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas. And that way we can actually get a color affinity boost to our... well, we don't actually need the color affinity boost. Now that I'm thinking about it, we already had that with Lucci. That support there really doesn't do too much, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Removes the attack cancelling effects, but then we make the orbs matching. So the support on Akainu is not really that essential now that I'm actually thinking about it. But it's a nice little option for you guys. We're then going to remove the damage null that X-Drake puts up with X-Drake. That was another thing I found funny about this team. We're using X-Drake to beat X-Drake, which is really, really cool. Because we used an orb buff, he does like a huge HP cut and puts up damage null for 2 turns. But the beautiful thing about using X-Drake is we can actually remove that 2 turns. And then with the Treasure Map Moria, we can remove the rest of the Despair. And we can just take out X-Drake easy peasy here. So there you guys go. That was versus Akainu using all 3 of those new supports, even though one of them was sort of redundant. Alright, so moving on to versus Kawamatsu now. Now, this was actually my favorite of the videos of today. We are using Arlong crew with a friend Akainu, and we are utilizing the Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week, that's her name. The Miss Golden Week support. Now, the Miss Golden Week and Mr. 3 support actually makes this team function a lot nicer, and actually allows us to not need to stall at all. The only thing you might need to do is take an extra turn on a Kiku, and I think I actually had to do so on this particular run, and that's just orb dependent, because you do need to get your versatility of Akainu up. So unfortunately for me, I only got 3 orbs on this particular stage. If you manage to get like 4 or 5, or 3, and then you can switch with Arlong crew, it's just going to allow you to build up that verse meter a lot quicker, and then once you hit this Okiku stage, you should be able to get enough orbs to take her out. Now, with the burn mechanic of Akainu, as well as Barrier Pen, looking at this, I actually probably could have taken her out. But with the burn mechanic of Akainu, because she does a HP cut on entry, the burn actually just takes her out in 2 turns, and it just makes life a lot easier. And it just makes this sort of team function a little bit nicer, as it's a lot more reliable to actually take her out. Taking damage on this stage against a Kiku is not a bad thing either, as we are running Arlong crew and we want to be at low HP. So that damage reduction that Mr. 3 gives us isn't all that great. But the big reason we have him here is it actually gives 2 turns of cooldowns. And that means Lin doesn't have to stall as much for her special. Once we get to stage 4 against Raizo, we can remove the bind and the damage reduction with the Sengoku special. We can use the versatility of our Akainu, as we're not going to need it on the final turn. And then we can actually use the special of Lin. We can also get color affinity with Whitebeard, as we only need the Whitebeard special once on the following turn. And with Neptune's amazing Sailor ability, we can actually give him cooldowns every time someone else uses a special. And the way this team operates, being just completely powerhouse, just functions so nicely and manages to clear this very, very fast. And this is the team that I'm actually using to farm it up. This, and I built a carrot team as well that I have been using as well. But this team for me is the most fun, and I have been enjoying it a lot. Excuse me, sorry about that. So once we hit the final stage against Kawamatsu, we're basically just going to use our Akainu special to give us a full board of orbs through the block orbs, as well as a chain lock. We can use our Arlong crew switch for a base stat boost, as well as an attack boost with his special, and then becoming that 4.5 times captain, I think it is, as long as you have one of every color. And with the support of Hody, we can actually give ourselves, our powerhouse characters, 2 cooldowns, so we can get around that as well. Neptune can remove the attack down and the rest of the despair. We have colored affinity with Whitebeard. Bob's your uncle, this team has it. And we can say goodbye to Kawamatsu. So let's move on to the final part of the video now. We'll let this play out. And we're going to take on Navy with Akainu. Alright, so for the final clip of the video, we're taking on the Garbs Challenge Navy. And we're using versus Akainu, obviously. So that was the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive on in. So we're going to speed our way through up until stage 3. Because once we hit Kobe Helmeppo, that's when the fight actually starts. And that's basically what we care about, right? Where the actual content starts. You guys know what to do. Those guys have high defense, low HP. So just take them out with normal attacks. Once we hit stage 3, though, we come up against Kobe Helmeppo. They are going to give us 2 turns of Hunger, as well as 2 turns of Threshold. So with the what's his name? Treasure Map Luffy and the Atama support, we can get around the Hunger because we give ourselves some meat orbs. But we don't have a way of actually getting around the Threshold here. We ideally just want to remove the Hunger, and then we're going to apply the burn mechanic with Akainu. And that way we can actually take this particular stage out. We can remove the Threshold with the Zoro special, however, though, but I just really wanted to apply the burn mechanic for some reason. Like I said, I recorded this a couple days ago, and I don't know why I just didn't use the what's his name special, the Zoro special on the first turn, to be honest, but it is what it is. Once we take out that stage, we move on to stage 4. Now, against stage 4, we come up against Smokey, Tashigi, and Hina. They're going to give us 5 turns of Despair, which goes down to 2 turns respective to your sockets, and 3 turns of Bind, again, respective to your sockets on your bottom row. So this is where we have the support of Sanji to remove 2 turns of the Despair, and then we can actually use our Akainu special. Now, with the Akainu special, it's actually going to give us access to the Mr. 4 support and Miss Merry Christmas. That way we get all of the nice buffs from Akainu, as well as 2 turns of bind removal. With that 2 turns of bind removal, we can actually remove basically all the bind, as Smoker's going to kill himself with the burn mechanic, and it just works really, really nicely. On to stage 5 now? Yeah, stage 5, we come up against Kizaru. Now, Kizaru is a dex unit, and stereotypically, this is where Akainu is going to struggle, as he does have type disadvantage. Kizaru has a 2-hit perfect barrier, and makes it harder to hit perfect. So the Zunisha helps out significantly, as we are running basically a full powerhouse team, bar Zoro. But I wanted to include Zoro here, because he can use the Sanji support, and he's a free-to-play unit, so like, I feel like most people actually have him if you do want to try this team. This team is actually fairly free-to-play friendly. Obviously, it does have some intricate supports, but the actual units themselves are pretty free-to-play friendly, besides obviously Kaido and Akainu. Once we get to this stage against Fuji, we are going to use the versatility of our Akainu. That way we can get a conditional boost. We can use the special of our Kaido, I'm pretty sure we use here. That way we can give ourselves a full board of orbs, as well as the double damage debuff. And with the support of Dofi, we can give our driven units an orb boost as well, which is really, really cool. That way we can actually take out Fuji in 1 turn, and then we can stall on the Chicky Babe. So let's fast forward to there. Alright, so we hit the 89 turns, and the last chick is going to run away. And that way we can move on to the final stage against Akainu. So we're going to be using Akainu versus Akainu, and you love to see it. Akainu turns into a strength unit, which is great for this team, as we are running mono quick. The Navy obviously does that, so if you are running dual units, just be very, very careful. It's going to wipe away all our positive buffs, gives us 5 turns of burn, and only lets us use 2 specials. So this is where we can use the special of our versus Akainu once again. That's going to give us a full board of orbs, as well as a chain lock. And then with the Zoro special, we can actually get 2 turns of color affinity, which is really, really nice for this particular team, as we are running basically all driven or slasher units, besides obviously Luffy and the Sea Monster. You can easily use the Luffy special before you use the Akainu special, but just be mindful Luffy will rotate orbs, which is very, very annoying. Once we do kill Akainu, he does have the revive mechanic. Once he revives, we can remove the threshold with the Sea Monster, as well as giving us an orb boost. but we also have the special of our other Akainu ready to go. That's going to give us a higher orb boost and a chain lock. So with that, it's going to wrap it all up, and we can take out the Navy easy peasy. Another thing to note is we have Smoker on our Sea Monster for an attack boost on this final stage too. So there you guys go. That was my showcase of the new supports. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lights!